Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Ahead on the marketplace, rising prices of building materials attributed to high freight charges. We'll be hearing from the Association of Ghana Industries, which is asking government to intervene. Also, coming up this afternoon, the Ghana Revenue Authority says it is on course to raise tax revenue of 60 billion cedis this year, higher than what was recorded in 2020. Plus, over 300,000 businesses captured as dead firms by the Registrar General's department. It's got the department worried. We hear from the Registrar General, Jemima Owari. That's all coming up on the marketplace. Now, my name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We begin from the pause because a spike in freight charges is a major reason for rising prices of building materials and some goods on the local market. That's according to the Association of Ghana Industries. Parliament has already commenced investigations into the issue, whilst the Council of State has also been engaging businesses to find some solutions to this challenge. Now, speaking on PM Express Business Edition, Chief Executive of the Association of Ghana Industry, Sechima Kwabwa, said some intervention from government is necessary to deal with the situation.
Sectors that are not directly affected by such gatherings are gradually picking up. The construction industry, for example, people are going about their normal business.
I was surprised because I stand to be educated. I look at the BOG data and cement sales have shot up. It appears the construction sector was one of the few areas that was immune from COVID. So, was it that robots were building or what? Sorry.
No. Construction sector wasn't immune from COVID at all, because during the COVID period, construction really went down.
Okay.
But I think part of the reason why the data is also showing so is because the prices of cement has gone up. So when you see the volumes and you are looking at it in terms of the turnover, naturally it will go up. But in volumes, it may not have gone up that much. In fact, cement prices during COVID period was about 35 cedis or so. Today it's almost 50 cedis. So significant increase. And therefore, if you look at just the turnover in the face value, you would think that construction has gone up so much. I think one major challenge that most of the construction companies have is when they do government projects and they don't get paid. So that is one area that they have a challenge. But generally speaking, at the private sector level and at the individual level, I think that because of the economy opening up, construction is gradually picking up as well. But don't forget that very soon we are actually into the lean season. During the rainy season, it goes down a little bit. So in the third quarter, we shouldn't expect a significant increase in construction again, and the last quarter probably to come up again. So it's sort of fluid, but generally speaking, I would say the recovery is gradually coming up, and we are seeing it in several sectors.
But you're talking about some other sectors that are still struggling. Hospitality is expected because the demand often was coming from outside. Are there any other areas that it was expected that by now things should have picked up, but they are still struggling?
Yes, there are other areas such as the garment sector. One would have expected that has nothing to do with, people coming to the country.
Because you're wearing a clothes. Whether COVID or no COVID, yes, we still have to dress up.
But don't forget that when the events are not taking place, when the big gatherings are not taking place, people are not buying new clothing and all that. You may not see, there is the micro issue that impact at the macro level. So at the micro level, at the individual level, when people are not buying so much, the global effect is that the demand generally will drop.
A lot of people are working from home.
People are working from home, so you are not dressing that much. In your beautiful suit, if you are not coming to the office, I'm sure you are home, you wouldn't be wearing this. So all these are having effect to some extent.
All right, and we'll hear information that freight charges are set to go up again because of the fact that charges are going up in Asia. We are following that for you and we'll update you subsequently. Now, let's turn to other stories we're following for you this afternoon. The Ghana Revenue Authority says it is on course to raise tax revenue of 60 billion cedis this year, representing a 32.3% increase over that of the 2020 collection of 40 billion cedis. Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Amishadai Ozuama, made this known during a workshop to train some selected judges on operational areas and enforcement provisions of the Ghana tax laws. This would aid the judges in the prosecution of cases in the court.
For the past 2 or 3 years, we have been able to meet the targets that have been given to us. But we believe that the kind of growth that we are seeing is not what will take us to where we are aiming to where our objectives are, what we are aiming to arrive at. And one of the things that we ought to do is the issue about enforcement and then compliance. This year we have targeted ourselves that we want to deliver 60 billion Ghana cedis, even though the government budget is 58 billion. I can say that we are on course, but we need to be able to raise the bar further. As we know that Ghana have talked about, the Minister of Finance, the Obantampa project, which requires that we are able to raise additional 100 billion, out of which 30 billion has been allocated to Ghana Revenue Authority over the next 3 years. In other words, apart from our normal target, we are supposed to deliver additional 30 billion. And this is because with the COVID-19 issues that have come up, there are a lot more expenditure that the government, and there are a lot of more development that the government aims at achieving over the next 3 years. And therefore, there's additional revenue that we have to deliver. In order to deliver this additional revenue, we need a concerted effort from us as the tax authority, from you as the law courts, and from the taxpayers, so that together as a nation, we'll be able to raise the necessary revenue to develop our country and to put us back on the successful track for which the government had been going until COVID-19 came in.
Now, over 300,000 businesses have been captured as dead firms by the Registrar General's Department. These firms have not renewed their business documents or have not updated their records at all. The Registrar General's Department says the practice is unhealthy and has expressed worry about the situation. Jemima Owari is the Registrar General. She has been speaking with Joy Business on our maiden CEO show on social media.
You can convert it from a business name into a limited liability. And at that level, you would have grown the business to the stage where you can afford a company secretary. You can afford an auditor. You need an auditor, a qualified chartered accountant. Now, these are very expensive professionals, and that's the kind of expertise we require in a company. So if you're not ready for it, don't go for it. There are very strict requirements. You're supposed to be filing returns 18 months after incorporation, and then yearly thereafter. Now, there are penalties. And because people didn't know the different types of businesses, everybody just got up and said, I want a company. And that is how come I have a bloated register full of dead companies. They just register it one-off. Maybe they want a visa, they want a contract, they want to get married, and maybe they should have a company. After they get married, they don't bother to follow up with the requirements of filing returns and all that. And so we have over 300,000 businesses that are not renewing, not updating. That is why this whole cleanup thing came up. So with a company, what I'm saying is it's an association of partners or people, 2 minimum directors, 1 shareholder. That is a private company. A public company, you go
before you go into that, let me just throw in the questions that relate to that. Somebody says, I have a company, he's called Abraham. He says, I have a company that has been out of business for the past 5 years. So I have not been renewing How do I do that when I am ready?
Okay. If it's for the past 5 years, that means he's already in the e-registrar system. He doesn't need to do a re-registration.
Well, you heard that. Jemima Owari, she's a Registrar General, on our maiden social media show where we engaged her one-on-one. Be on the lookout for the next one. Now, the head of capital markets at Guarantee Trust Bank, Mavis Bosman, is concerned about low patronage of the Ghana alternative market created by the Ghana Stock Exchange. She tells Joy Business companies are not listing, though it is one of the best equity financing avenues for businesses with much institutional investor interest. She spoke with Odilia Ntiamwa.
We set up GACS for what, and have we achieved it? Okay, so GACS was basically set up to ensure that other businesses that did not have the capacity or the requirements that you needed to enroll on the mainstream Ghana Stock Exchange will have access to funding. So the gas requirement was lesser minimum capital, which was pegged at 250,000 cedis, which is more or less more for what we term medium and small scale enterprises here in Ghana. So gas is still there, it's still running, but I think the main issue with gas is the publicity or the education on that aspect, that there is an alternative market that has been set up for small scale and medium term enterprises to raise funds, to access or to tap into the public fund or to tap into other private sector funds. The education on that was very low, and a lot of people are not even aware that there's an alternative market for small and medium scale enterprises.
All right, you're watching The Marketplace. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with some more stories. Welcome back to The Marketplace. We are headed for the Tema industrial area because the Ghana Water Company, as part of its long-term measure in improving water supply to industries in that area, has taken steps to dedicate a production center to these commercial customers. The project currently at the feasibility stage will draw water from the Volta River around Aveime to feed the industries. Once completed, Ghana Water will take off the industries from the Tema booster to help supply them with enough water, leaving existing lines for domestic users. There's more in this report from Kwame Yanka.
Speaking at a stakeholder meeting with industries in Tema, Managing Director of Ghana Water, Engineer Dr. Clifford Brymer says the company has discussed the project with the Danish Embassy. He says the Danish Sustainable Infrastructure Fund has good rates in terms of loan facility to support the project.
Already had a discussion with the Danish Embassy. We floated 3 projects. They've settled on this one. We've had a discussion with our sector minister. We've written to her on that. We are waiting for the Minister of Finance to write to the Danida group. They have this Danish Sustainable Infrastructure Fund, where the rates are very good. The concessionary and government of Ghana will be happy to have them. When they write showing support of that, then we kickstart the feasibility. And that's what we have on our own. I've started the feasibility, as I said this morning, because knowing the demand of the company is part of the feasibility.
Although phase 2 of the Pond Water Expansion Project hangs in the balance, Engineer Dr. Brymer sees the need to go ahead with this one.
Because these are different funding agencies. Okay. So the pond halt is as a result of funding. Somebody's processing it, and as I mentioned, it's an EXIM facility, state to state, and diplomatic issues involved. So you will not be able to just cut it because you feel there's a problem. The countries will have to talk to themselves for them to let them know how there we are as far as the water supply is concerned. Then when we are able to reach there, we can either terminate and get a new person, somebody else to come and do it. But for this one, it's a separate arrangement.
The engagement allowed industries to express their dismay and commendations about services of Ghana Water. Finance manager at Olam Ghana, Abraham Opon, was unhappy with periodic and frequent shortages experienced at the Pong enclave.
We get water shortages without announcement. Sometimes even the plant maintenance that they want to do, it takes more than the usual time that they give. These are the major concerns that we have. And we have to rely on water tankers. In the month of April this year alone, we spent over 60,000 on tanker water alone, which is more than double our monthly payment that we do for Ghana Water.
Other officials of Ghana Water Company from headquarters and Tema region were also available to respond to issues. Tema Oil Refinery, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Sunon Asoglipa, Southern Water, among others, were present. Kwame Yanke's reports for Joy Business.
And you're watching The Marketplace. Now, knowledge about genetically modified food and biotechnology is low among the Ghanaian public due to low levels of education and awareness. Now, studies have warned that Ghana could lose millions of cedis if there is delay in the introduction of some genetically modified foods. Emma Davis in this report explores the myths surrounding genetically modified organisms and how that is affecting public perception.
In 2012, and they are being under research. I know they are at the point of release. And they are being under research. I know they are at the point of release. So the CSIR has to come to the Biosafety Authority, pick the form for the release, submit it, and then we take it through risk assessment. But most importantly, public assessment, consultation. The public must make input. So when we get such information, we put it in the public domain. We advertise it, we gazette it, we advertise for the public to come for copies and make input. So in deciding, the board would look at the application, the information in the application, the public input, socio-economic consideration, so, and then risk assessment. So it's a process. They are not out yet.
But then it's been 3 years. Isn't that long enough for a time to complete this process?
As a biosafety authority, we will not look at it that way because it's as and when an applicant comes in. So if the applicant comes, yes, we will look at it. Until they come, we are waiting.
So we don't have any genetically modified organisms on the market yet?
As far as we know, no.
Could the fact be that there are groups against GMOs? That is why there's also a bit of delay?
Yes, that could be. Yes, you are right, because before these structures were put in place, or while they were being put in place, there is our friend on the other side. Let me put it on record that in biosafety, we don't speak for. Even though we are the regulators, so we don't speak for. We don't speak against. We are friends to those who speak against. We listen to them. We are friends to those who speak for. We listen to them. And then we put it together and make a decision. But you will bear me out that a lot of information has gone out there, a lot. Whether they are scientifically they sound or not, we are yet to tell. But basically, most of the information we hear are not scientifically sound. But that is what has entered into the minds of the people, and some kind of fear has been created in the minds of the people. And so something that all stakeholders involved should work on, And I will also say that any message that anybody who claims to understand the system releases out there should be scientifically sound. If GMOs are bad, they can cause cancer, and the science is there, the proof is there, we will listen. But if it is based on propaganda, to hang it without any basis, that one we will not take. So that is the situation we find ourselves. A lot of information has gone out there, and they are not scientifically sound, most of them.
It's quite unfortunate you've said that we don't have any GMOs on the market.
Yes.
I bought these hoping that if they were GMOs, you could identify it.
Yes.
And help me or the public know that this is a GMO crop or this is not a GMO crop. So is there a way you can,
Yes. Thank you for bringing them. This is very... So this is soybean, right?
Yeah.
And this is cowpea?
Yes.
Right. Now, with your naked eye, there is no way you can see a GMO crop.
Okay.
There's no way unless you take it to the lab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it may look nice, but with your eyes, you cannot make the difference. Now, the GMOs that we are testing on, researching on in this country, cowpea is the number one.
Okay.
And the cowpea we have in Ghana is what has received the gene. So it's not foreign. Okay. Our own cowpea, which looks like this, is the that type of cowpea farmers have been planting in Ghana. So when it's lying down, you will not see it.
Oh, okay.
I think this may be it, but that cowpea is in the hands of the scientists under lock and key. So if you bought this from the market, it is not a GMO.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
Now, but we can still take it to the lab and test and see if the gene is there. That is the only way. And this is soybean. Looking at it, you cannot tell until we take it to the lab and do the assessment, the analysis, and check whether there is a foreign gene in it. There's this belief that we have to correct. The ordinary public do not understand the difference between a hybrid and GMO.
Okay.
Hybrids are improved varieties. They may look nicer than the original, which our forefathers were, but they are not GMOs. They are improved varieties.
Okay.
And the public don't understand that improved varieties are not GMOs. Yeah. And you are holding this mango. Yeah. Yes, this is the usual mango we have. You know, I think it's exotic.
Yeah.
It's exotic, and it's different from the normal mangoes we have. This is an improved variety.
Okay.
It's not a genetically modified organism. Oh. It's not a genetically modified mango.
All right, so that was the conversation about genetically modified organisms and the fact that public perception is low. What do we do about it as the nation is losing millions of cedis because of a delay in implementation? This is the marketplace. This is where we wrap up on the bulletin. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Do go there to read the rest of the day's business news stories. We'll be back at 5 p.m. with Business Live with some more business stories for you. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching.